Okay, peeps, welcome back. So, today we're going to be talking about Coinbase being at the highs. Are we going to sell off? And this is going to be the YieldMax underlying stocks technical analysis for the week. Let's get it. So, first thing I want to point out to y'all is these stocks are listed in no particular orders. So, just kind of correlate them with the YieldMax ETFs that you're invested in. Keep that in mind in this video. So, let's get it. So we're taking a look at Apple. You can see we bounced off support here between 170 to 180. Apple is currently getting ready to break through highs. It looks like we had this green weekly close, which is very bullish for Apple. If we break through here, that would be obviously bullish for Apple, so Apple could go higher. The breaking point on this thing is roughly about $200 a share. We need a weekly close above that, and we could expect it to go higher. So we're going to take a look at Amazon. AMZ has been outperforming. If y'all watched our last video, you would know that we were talking about that. So Amazon has also been outperforming. As you can see, we broke this downtrend here roughly about May of this year, and we've been up ever since. Now it looks like we're about ready to get a weekly close out of this thing. So the current support is between 136 to 149. The reason it's still a resistance zone is because we haven't had a confirmed breakout yet, but the target price to the upside would be between 170 to 190. So I would say that AMZ could still potentially have quite a bit of upside here. Now let's talk about the hot topic of the day. So this is Coinbase. This is the one that everybody's been talking about that's been blowing up. Coney's at $27, which is insane. So we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 green weeks in a row on this thing, which is insane. We have not seen anything like that on Coinbase, to my knowledge, ever. I mean, yeah, if we look at the charts, you guys can literally see there's never been a time ever since Coinbase has been public that we've had 8 green weeks in a row. Again, this is all based on the spot Bitcoin ETF hype, which BlackRock's final deadline, I believe, is January 10th of next month. That's the one that everybody's looking at. Reason being is because BlackRock basically owns pretty much everything on Earth. I mean, it's an overstatement when I say that, but they have 10 trillion in assets, so they're the biggest in town, not just in America, but in the world. So with that being said, the resistance is between 152 to 174. Could we sell off? Well, the RSI is indicating that we're massively overbought here. Even when we were at $350 a share, $370 a share, my bad, on Coinbase, we were not even this overbought on the RSI, so keep that in mind. If we have a pullback, it's going to go to somewhere between 106 to 113 would be the most major support zone. So Google's looking pretty good. We are kind of respecting this support zone currently and looking to head up into roughly about 145 to 153. We need to get back up to that resistance from the November 2021 highs if we're going to see this thing go up higher. So Disney, once again, Disney is massively underperforming. As you guys can see here, it has basically come back once again, just as we said last week, and it's retesting this basically decade-long support here at roughly about $77 to $90 a share. It is above it. It looks like it's going to come back and retest it. If we push up higher, this thing could go between 114 to 120. Keep in mind, DSO will probably move up with this. And we also have broken this downtrend line that started way back here in roughly about late 2021. So that's also very bullish. Now, if we get into Facebook, as you guys can see, Facebook is just massively outperforming. This thing is an absolute beast. It does not know when to stop. This is just, I would say this is even crazier than Coinbase, honestly. Well, Coinbase is definitely crazier, but I mean, Coinbase has had pullbacks along the way. As you guys can see, Facebook hasn't really pulled back much other than basically July. It had a pretty steep pullback and then just straight up from there. So I'm not really sure what's going on with Facebook, but we could possibly sell off of the zone here. If we do, FB will pull back. So Facebook would be looking at a support zone between 220 and 250. But if we keep going up, the peak could be as high as 390. So there is still a little room for upside there, although not sure it's actually going to go up that high. We'll just have to wait and see. So Microsoft is at all-time highs. That's obviously very good. We want to see that. So ideally, this would bounce off 370 and go higher. That would be pretty good for MSFO holders. And I mean, this is the only stock that I'm aware of in the big tech companies that's actually at all-time highs. So that's really good. Netflix kind of, well, I guess you could say it's bullish, but it's kind of in no man's land. So between the highs and the lows, not really doing much. It is still bullish. It's above the EMAs, above this trend line here. It bounced off of support and the trend, or I should say came back through support off of the trend line and is heading higher. We got higher highs, higher lows, so that's all bullish. Plus the golden crosses on the indicators here. So your support is between 390 and 412. Resistance all the way up between 570 to $700 a share. That would be the previous bull market highs. So if I was going to buy this, what I would do is I would just DCA because I don't really know personally if it's going to go up or down. So it's good to, for me, I would DCA. If I had a large position, I would take profit on the way up. If I had a small position, I would just continue to DCA. If it goes up too much, then I would just hold and buy something else instead. That's just my opinion. So Nvidia is looking, actually, believe it or not, this is pretty bullish, I would say. So it was looking bearish because we had this bearish divergence, price going up, RSI, MACD going down. But since we are kind of consolidating here, we could see a turning back up of both the MACD and the RSI back into bullishness with golden crosses. Another thing to keep in mind is, we'll point this pattern out to y'all. So this could be considered actually to be an ascending triangle. This is a bullish pattern. Typically, these have a higher probability of breaking out to the upside. But so we'll just go with the technicals here. So if Nvidia were to pull back, it could pull back anywhere between $400 a share to, I would say, roughly about $450. The peak is obviously at $500 a share, which is pretty much right where it is now. If it does have a big drop, it would have to crack the support level here and this trend line and the EMAs, and it would potentially bounce anywhere between 280 to 350 a share. Tesla, this is a big one. We've been pointing this out to y'all. So it looks like it's about ready to bust out of that triangle pattern to the upside. We'll just have to wait and see how the weekly closes, but bounced off support, bounced off the trend line. It is still in bullish territory on the RSI and the MACD, so there's potential upside here. We just need to see a confirmed breakout above this resistance. So if it breaks below the resistance, the support is between 190 to 220. The resistance would be 290 to $312, and obviously Tesla would follow suit. So let's hope it breaks out to the upside. Squee, again, I will point out the difference between Coinbase or I should say Coinbase and Square. Coinbase has a lot of upside, but I would say it's about 50% between the lows and the highs. If we compare that to Square here, you guys can see that the upside is absolutely ridiculous on this thing. This thing could actually, I'm not going to say it could outperform Coney or Coinbase, but it's possible. So support here is between 42 to $58 a share. Resistance is between roughly about 83 to about $93 a share. If it breaks that, it could go all the way up to as high as 145 a share. Keep in mind, Squee would go up with it. So you got your golden crosses here. They are moving up, so that's a very bullish sign. Plus, we also have another insane 8 weeks of green, so that's pretty crazy to see. So ExxonMobil, this is the oil one. We talked about this in the previous video with the U.S. Currently outputting record numbers in terms of oil production. So support is between 83 and roughly about 96, and resistance between 114 to 121. Not financial advice, but again, very similar to, I forget which stock it was that we were talking about, but basically this is in no man's land. If I was going to buy this, or XOMO, I should say, the YieldMax one, I would just DCA in and kind of see what it does. JP Morgan Chase is very bullish. As you can see, it's also had, not surprisingly, 8 green weeks of bullishness to the upside. So we are currently sitting at resistance. This could be a potential sell area. So if I were to sell or short this, not saying I am, but it would be somewhere between 167 to 174. Your supports are roughly about 135 to 145, and 140 would be the trend line. So I would say this is more likely to probably pull back than keep going up. But it could keep going up. It's possible. We'll just have to wait and see. So ARKK, again, this one is actually looking very bullish. We got golden crosses here on both the MACD and the RSI. And we did break this long-term downtrend line here. The only thing that's left is basically to pop out of resistance here with a close. The next target would be roughly around $70-ish a share. And then maybe as high as, I would say, about $100. So support is between 28 to 36. Resistance between 49 to 54. And keep in mind that ARKK does have exposure to both Coinbase and Tesla. So if Coinbase and Tesla are going up, then you already know that this one's going to do really well. So I would say that this one is actually pretty bullish. AMD, this would be the AMDY for the YieldMax. Very bullish, definitely very bullish. So we had a candle close above these previous highs. That's always a good sign. Come back and retest the support between 126 to 134. We could be heading as high as 158 to 166. Again, I would say that this one is actually quite bullish. The RSI is a little bit high, but it's not yet flashing green, so it's not overbought. PayPal, this one is kind of difficult to say if it's bullish or bearish. I would say this is in no man's land, but as you guys can see, the upside is massive here. It's be a 5x all the way back to highs. So we need to break this downtrending support line. We are currently at resistance, so support is between 30 to 46, resistance between 59 to 83. Me personally, unless I see a breakout probably this week or within the next couple of weeks, I would say this thing is potentially looking at a pullback. So Moderna, another one that has massive upside. You can see that all-time high is $500 a share. Of course, that was the pandemic. They're making vaccines and stuff. But I would say that this one's pretty bullish. I mean, we're sitting on multi-year support here. 65 to 94 is the support. Resistance is between 180 to 218. So you're looking at roughly about a 2.5x to the upside. Again, this would not play out overnight. This is the weekly time frame, so this could take months. But if in order to be truly bullish, basically what we want to see on this one is, so the indicators down here look good, but what we want to see is a close above this support level, so a close into roughly 100 plus. A weekly close above the EMAs would be good, and followed by a golden cross, and then I would say everything is pretty much good to go at that point, with the exception of maybe like this downtrend line here. If we can get a break above that as well, that would also be very good. So combination of those things would make this particular stock very bullish. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the YieldMax underlying ETFs. So anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see y'all later. Peace.